I tell him, make a numbers game. Young people, you all are watching this program. You see, people think you can just start a company, man, and your mind is occupied. You're constantly on the damn phone. You're running a business, but every 5 minutes you're looking at Instagram, TikTok posts. You're not going to be successful. You should be able to focus on the job. To answer your question, entrepreneurship, firstly, is about spotting an opportunity. Your past determine your future. Make a break now and then go looking for what are the opportunities I have. Paper qualification, it will get you a job. But you need to look at other skills like what we spoke about. At least problem solving skills you must have.
Hello and welcome to ILLUMINATE 24, organized by the IEEE student branch of IIT. I'm Shannon Kahapalarachi, and today we have the immense pleasure of speaking with an inspiring entrepreneur and leader, Mr. Peter de Almeida. Now, Peter is actually the founder and former MD CEO of Enable, which is an IT company, and he has a rich history in the IT sector, banking sector, and entertainment industry. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining with us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
So, to start off, could you share with us a bit about your early life and education?
Well, my early life, I was born into a very large family. Like I always say in my interviews, my father was 40 when he married my mother, who was 20 year gap. And then, as I always say jokingly, he was from a very conservative Catholic family. And the Bible, first book in the Bible, Genesis, says, go forth and multiply. So he went and multiplied. And he had 11 children. I was the youngest. He was 60 when I was born. And I was, now 5 years ago, when I was 61, is when I had my grandson. But my father at 60 was still having sons and daughters. So anyway, now the thing is, when I was 4, he died, dropped dead of a heart attack. And in my house at that time, out of the 11 children, my elder sister was married, so she had gone. So 10 children, my grandmother 11, my grandmother 12, and 2 cousins also my father had brought to live with us because their father had abandoned them and gone off to Africa. So 14 people in the house, Shannon, and no income. So I was asking my mother later on, when I was much older, I said, now, weren't you terrified when this happened? 14 people in the house, there is no income. She said, no. I said, what do you mean? She said, no, I knew that God will provide. Can you imagine? Such a simple faith, no?
Simple, yeah.
Faith. So that was her anchor. So she knew that God will provide. So she is not unduly worried. So much faith. But God can't give us food, no, He can't drop food from heaven.
Yes.
So 2 of my elder sisters number 2 and 3, and my brother, who was the 4th but eldest of the boys, they had to chuck up their higher education and all and go to work. And they did small jobs just to get some income. So, so we grew up with very limited resources. So very early we learned how to manage our resources. And second thing we learned, you have to pool your resources. For example, even 15 years later, when I was 19, I went to work. I was at State Bank of India. I started work as a clerk. But there, I used to get my salary in envelope. No bank transfers and all that. Those days, you have to count cash, put in envelope, you have to count it and take it, then sign and take my salary was 467 rupees and 50 cents something. I used to bring the salary and give it to my mother, the entire salary. And the next day, I take the bus fare and the lunch money from her. So that's how, so 2 things, limited resources, how to manage, and how to pool your resources so that everybody is taken care of. If in this, for example, fortunately, there were no phones and all that. Now, fellows, first salary, they want to buy an iPhone or some bloody thing like that, So we had none of that. And very little by way of, you couldn't, I think that time there was a import ban also. I think between 65, 70, no, 70, 77. So very few things to buy and all that, no fancy clothes and all that. So simple life. And but education-wise, I went to St. Benedict's College in Kotehena, and right throughout I studied there because my brothers are all there. And as a result, my school fees was only 6 rupees because I am the sixth of the boys. So so I paid 6 rupees fees. Only when I O levels or something, A levels I paid 100 rupees. So then my studies, fortunately, there was no pressure because you see, they didn't have this parent-teachers meeting and all this nonsense those days, Nowadays, parents come and they are pressurizing their children. The parents are more tense for the parent-teachers meeting than the children. And they are going from running desk to desk. How many they're looking at the examination paper, asking questions, and the child is also under tension. So we didn't have any of that. So we grew up fairly easy. No shishatva, this scholarship
exams.
So none of that. So primary and all that, just a breeze, and then sports and all that sort of thing. Then upper school, by the time I came to my O levels, I was doing very well in my academics also. And won a number, now in grade 8, I'll tell you this story. I won a number of prizes when I was in grade 8, which was prizes for grade 7. Won about 6, 7, 8 prizes. So when with the prize giving, I got all these certificates and all that. And when I came out, the various other parents, because my family was well known, a big Catholic family and big family, father had died. So in Kotehena, we were well known. So they were asking me, has nobody come? Then only I realized nobody had come from my family for the prize giving.
So there was no one?
No one. So then it started to drizzle. Then the certificates will get blotted, no? Because they used to write beautifully with calligraphy style, I think. I can't remember. Also, anyway, I put the certificate in my vest and came to the bus stand, took the bus and came home. Then my brothers and sisters were studying at the table. They said, here Peter has come in. My mother said, I say you got wet, have a bath. And that was that, no drama. So that night I felt a little sad. I remember crying myself to sleep because I felt nobody came. But
no
in a way,
congratulating.
No, none of that. They may have said, well done or something, but there was no celebration. But it's a good thing, Shannon, because you see, otherwise next year I didn't get so many prizes. If they came, then the next year they'll say, I say, what the hell, man, you got only 2 prizes or 3 or whatever. So that was what education was like. And so when it came to my A levels, I lost interest in that way of studying, this notes and all that. So, but I was interested in physics. For example, in physics, we used to do a little bit of physics called quantum, little bit. So then there were 2 famous scientists, Max Planck and Niels Bohr. I used to ask questions about them. And the master used to say, Peter, Tamasoya Pandita Prashnahala fail, and exactly correct, I fail. Fail meanings I gave up. It's not like because O levels I got the prize for chemistry and physics. So I gave up.
It's not the marks.
It's not the mark. I didn't like that way of, and even today I think I can hold a good conversation about physics with a degree holder, because I understand electromagnetism and all of that and quantum and all that. I have some knowledge, and I come to that later about how I went to technology without doing any technology studies. So that is how my life was. But in school itself, I'd started to be a bit of a radical. When I was a head prefect of the school, there was a student who was shot and killed in Peradeniya, 1976. Just the year we were going to do I-levels next year. I was head prefect. So when that happened, lots of schools in Colombo, they came out, the students of some of the government schools came out and tarred the buses and tied branches and all that. I told our boys, we are not going to behave like that. We are going to have a formal protest. So a week or 2 later, the trade unions organized a strike to protest about the killing of a university student. For the first time, the police had gone into the campus and opened fire. That day, we boycotted classes. I organized it with my prefects. Because
yes, the head prefect organized.
Yes. And no iPhone, no phones. No WhatsApp groups.
Send messages.
Nothing. The previous day we had a big soccer match because in Benedict College, we're very good at soccer. Big match, like not a proper big match, but it was a crucial match. Finals of one of the big shields. We were playing in some school, and in the playground, we sent the word out that tomorrow we are not coming to school. But we had already had a meeting to all the students to have come for an assembly and all that. That's how radical we were. But the principal got all the parents to come. He sent a postcard and told the parents to come, otherwise they won't be admitted to school. So when it came to my mother's turn, that's the first time my mother came to school. Principal tried to say that, Peter is a troublemaker. He knew, but none of them gave my name. But my mother told him, brother, I completely agree with what he did. Because you see, you can't just go around killing students, and people must protest. So you see, yeah. So my school life, as you can imagine, was very colorful. So yeah, that's how I went through school. So like I said, no pressure. We just learned what we like to learn, and so I got here despite not having completed my A-levels.
So you still haven't completed your A-levels yet?
No, I didn't do my A-levels. I didn't do a degree. I didn't go to business school. So you might ask yourself, then what?
But you have managed to become
that's a
founder and a CEO.
Yes, of a technology company, and even Enable. You see, when we recruited the best engineers in the country, we were among the top three companies in Sri Lanka. Because before that, I was at Millennium IT, which was also a very remarkable company. So I asked myself, so what did I have? And that's what I think your students should also learn. You see, today, Shannon, knowledge is available. Because you see, you go to ChatGPT. Do you use ChatGPT?
Yes.
Use it extensively. Yeah. But don't use it just to cut and paste. Yeah. Use it to learn. So content is not what they should teach in school. In fact, Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is not what's important. And he said the purpose of education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Today it's all facts. Now we were just discussing a little while ago, remember you and I?
Yes.
Our teachers just give notes. They come to class, they're reading notes. That is not learning. You're not inspiring your students. So facts you can go and learn. Just type something. But how do I apply what I learn? That is what education should be all about. Because you see now, if you take, now there was a study done by a company called PricewaterhouseCoopers. They did a survey of 3,000 CEOs. Now that study was focused on workforce of the future. That was their subject matter, workforce of the future. They did this in 2015. And they said, as we look at 2030, what are you looking for? What are the skills and talents that you look for when you hire people for top positions? Now, they didn't say MBA, PhD and all that. Now, those are important. Very good if you can get an MBA or a master's or a PhD and all, that's very good. But that's not what they were looking for. They said, when we look at our future talent, we are looking at 4 things: creativity, problem solving, communication, collaboration. Now, our school systems doesn't teach you that. Take problem solving. To solve a problem, Shannon, you have to be able to fail. You won't be solve it at the very first go. You try it once, you fail. Try again, you fail. Try again, you fail. But in our school system, to fail means match over. No?
Yeah.
I say, you have failed maths, you have failed. And you think from the small age. So now, in fact, forget about failing. A student gets 98 marks for any subject, religion, what is the first question they'll ask you?
What happened to the other 2 marks?
What happened to the other 2? But before that, some parents, when they come for the parent teacher, they ask the teacher, "Vena kaatari siyak hamunad? Did anyone else get 100? Competition. So the teacher also says 4 or 5 people, 4-5 දෙනෙකුට හම. They say, "Modaya. උඹට ගන්න බැරි වෙනවා." Now, just imagine, now when you go for your job, are they going to ask you whether you got 100 marks?
100, no,
98. But look at what you do to that child. You kill that child's self-confidence.
Their imagination.
More than
creativity.
imagination. No, on that particular issue, when they say, Modaya, couldn't you get 2 marks more? In that context, you are making the child lose self-confidence. The child will think, I got 98 marks and still I'm not good enough for my parents or for my teacher. So, without that self-confidence, how are you going to face the world? So, problem solving can never be done unless you encourage failure is okay. It's okay. We try again. So, we don't have that. Creativity, completely killed. They don't allow you to ask questions. You can't collaborate. Or if I miss something in class, I'll turn to you, Shani, what happened? What are you all talking about? They say, talk, discuss. In fact, every session I go to universities and all, when I go and speak, at the end of my session, I will definitely have a Q&A. Generally, there are no questions, but sometimes I tell the children, okay, all of you get together, first row, talk. The moment they discuss, you won't believe, Shannon, I can't stop the questions. So many. So the classrooms must be lit up like that. Now you see, your topic is illuminate. How can we light the minds of our children, not put darkness and kill the enthusiasm, their questions,
their creativity.
Yeah. So you see, this is what I worry about, creativity, problem solving. You have to apply what you learn, Without that, it's useless. Anyway, it took a long time to answer your first question.
No, it's fine. So, all right, Peter. So after your early life and education, so what actually pursued and, what actually motivated you to, pursue a career in various fields?
Now I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to tell people, don't have a career. Don't fixate yourself on a career. Now, I did not choose any career. It's just chance and luck. So I went to the bank first, because I thought, okay, I'll get a job. But I was also more interested in trade union work. So when I went into the bank, I straight away, within the first year, I became a member of the trade union. Very first day, I became a member. Within 1 year, I was made the president of the branch of the trade union. I worked at State Bank of India. I was 19 years old. I became the president of the branch of that. We were part of the Ceylon Bank Employees Union. So the union is organized, you get the big union, independent union, not affiliated to any political parties. And they have branches at State Bank, Commercial Bank, People's Bank. You get the picture. Yeah. So State Bank of India, I was the president. And in about 2 or 3 years, I became the treasurer of the big union. I was only 23. I'm probably the youngest office bearer of a national trade union. So I did trade union work. So I didn't choose to follow banking career and all that, but I was very good in my banking. I was curious. So I would go to banking and I learned about banking. But when I got a bit disillusioned with the union and all that, my friend had started the IT company called East West Information Systems. He'd been wanting me to join him. In fact, I helped him to write the proposal to form East West. So when I got disillusioned, I left the bank, I went in. Now there, I knew nothing about IT. Zero. And no internet. But I learned it because I was curious. That's all you need to have today. Now you have all the internet, the world at your fingertips.
Yeah.
That time, but I learned it. Because when I went to work, I was brought in as a sales manager. There were 3 or 4 guys who already thought they knew IT and all that.
Yeah.
So I had to quickly learn it. And then IBM gave an exam and I came out on top. Immediately those fellows then started accepting me. So my IT journey was also just because of my curiosity, I learned it. And then I did that for a while. Then from East West, I moved to another company called Computerland because we launched a whole new IT system called Open Systems, a famous company called Sun Microsystems. They are the ones who invented Java. You know Java, right?
Yeah.
So they invented Java. So they were coming into Sri Lanka. So this small company, that time IBM was the biggest global player, Sun Microsystems was unknown. But I took a chance. I didn't want to be on the safe road. I thought this Unix computing and open systems is the future. So I Very few people would leave IBM business partner and join. But I took a chance because I was curious. I thought this looks like the future. And true enough, turned out now the whole world is Unix, right?
Yeah.
You don't get COBOL and RPG2 and AS4 operating system, mainframe. All mainframes run on Unix. You see? I took a chance, I went there. Then, of course, Sun Microsystems hired me as their country manager in Sri Lanka. And then they posted me in India. I looked after the SAARC region. Out of India. Can you imagine, man? No bloody IT education. I'm running Sun Microsystems services business for the whole SAARC region, including India.
And that's a huge responsibility as well.
Huge.
Yeah.
And India was a big Unix country, massive, but I am bloody Sri Lankan fellow, no IT degree, nothing.
No IT background.
I'm running the bloody whole show. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, based out of Bangalore. So you see, then I had a row. Row meaning my boss, Chinese lady, she and I were of the same level. Then our boss died. So she, by default, became my boss. She was pretty insecure about me because I was doing very well. So she tried to undermine me. I chucked it up and came to Sri Lanka. And what did I do? My friend had started a video production company. I joined with him. Then we invested some money and made it bigger. So you see, I am now moving. Now I didn't think, my God, my whole career must be on banking, now IT.
IT, yeah.
I am just now following different paths. Then video production. We were number one in Sri Lanka. The point is, whatever you do well, you have to do well. You have to put your whole energy into it. You have to be curious, you have to find. So I learned
You have to be the best at it.
You have to be best at it. So I learned it. So then again, there was some, I had sort of grown out of that, back to IT. And then started Enable, and then I stayed with IT for a long time. So my message is, if I call it a message, what I want to share with you, with your young students, do not get fixated on a career today. Even you, Shannon, just because you do software, computer science, your future does not have to be in computer science. Does not have to be. Because you see, with that as a base, you can go wherever you want. Now, let's take the 100 jobs of the future. Now see, to your question, career, now when we started, what were the big jobs? Doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineer, banker, government servant, teacher. Broadly, today, I was just thinking, jobs of the future. Now, how can someone decide on a career when the whole world is changing too dramatically? I was just thinking, I just made a jobs of the future under A. There's a job called 100-year counselor, additive manufacturing engineer, aesthetician, aged persons climate solutions consultant, agroecological farmer, AI educator, AI intellectual property negotiator. You can become an AI intellectual property negotiator, algorithm interpreter, and this bloody thing goes on. So how silly is it to tell your students at IIT, now you become a programmer? It's ridiculous. It's so limiting. That's your base. From there, you can go to wherever you want. That was only A. B, bioprinting engineer, blockchain talent analyst, chief digital automation officer, that we know, chief assistant bot program. So this bloody thing goes on. Yeah. So I'm very glad that I did, but certainly your generation should not get fixated. I did O-levels, I did chemistry, I did physics.
Should not be limited.
Not be limited at all. So that's why imagination opens the whole world. So you can see, this is okay. I happen to be doing software engineering or computer science. It's okay. I'm learning something, but that doesn't stop me from going wherever I want. So yeah, keep your options open. Definitely don't let your A-levels determine your future. Don't even let your degree define who you are, and definitely don't let it define your future. So particularly now with AI and all that, the world is open to you. So, career, that's my answer on career. So I never had one. I just, let the world take me wherever I wanted to go. Because I knew I was not. See, the thing is, too many of our young people are, so early days they're getting caught up in financial crisis because they're spending beyond their capacity. They're living a life that cannot be sustained. If you think every time a new iPhone comes out I have to buy it, then your life is finished. And okay, I hate it when young people say, I at 30 I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to start a company, at 30 years I want to retire. But then I get really, irritated. Because you see, life is not like that. It's not about shortcuts and, So don't live beyond your means. And take weddings, man. Now people spend so much on their weddings. And a lot of these weddings don't even last 1 year.
Yeah, that's true. But they spend millions and millions.
Millions, and their parents, their hard-earned, gratuity money, employees' provident fund.
Yeah.
They are also putting on a big show. My wedding, there were 50 people. I went and sat at the World Market near YMCA, sat on a stool, bargained with that fellow. That fellow 150, I said 125, whatever, bargain. As small wedding. So no pressure. I have no big bloody housing loan, nothing. Then you can go where your career takes you. But if you have gone and got a big loan, built a house, spent 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, pre-shoot, that shoot, this shoot, all bloody nonsense, then you're under pressure. I can't, if I lose my job, what will happen? I chucked up my job. I chucked up my job at Sun Microsystems. I said, to hell with it, I'm going home. I'm going back to Sri Lanka, so what? See, so that's the way to live, then you're not under pressure. And they get married early. I also married when I was young, but I was okay to bring up my children in a very simple way. But, this is crazy to put yourself under so much pressure.
All right. So, Peter, now that's truly inspiring, actually. Now, you face some significant challenges, especially with Enable. Could you tell us more about that experience and also how you managed through the economic downturn?
Yeah, so we're talking about the economic downturn of 2008 when we started Enable, right?
Yeah.
So when we started, I started with 12 people because Millennium, you see, again, I took a chance, right? Millennium was a well-established company and they, then they were trying to sell that software business to a foreign company. Then I knew that if that company comes, our business was the systems integration, the technology business. So I moved out and I started with 12 people, Shannon, but some of the best engineers in the country. But I was able to convince them that's the other skill that you should have. Maybe we can talk about it later. Storytelling. So I could tell a story to the investor, to Hemas, to put money. They put 30 million rupees. Then I have to tell a story to get the best engineers to give up their good jobs and join a startup because we were a startup. So we did that. So now, so when we started Enable, we were targeting a particular telecom company. Because I had been working in IT, so I knew these big projects were coming. And when we selected people also, I selected specific engineers targeting that particular opportunity. It was about a $3 or $4 million opportunity. Now don't forget, I've told Hemas also that this big project is coming and we are can never be sure, but I was going to win it. That particular year, global economic crisis, 2008 crash, this telecom company went from 1 billion rupees profit to zero. Next year,
From 1 billion to zero.
Zero. Next year, I think they went from 0 to 1 billion loss. A whole bloody business plan gone. What to do? So, we are used to crisis. No? I was born into a crisis situation. So then I said, okay, now what do we do? That's the thing, you see, that's where you have to, that's what leadership is all about. I think you have to now look, it's in a very dark situation that you need leadership. You see, if everything is going well, you don't need a leader, no, you just go along. But when it's looking dark, you have just started a company, people have chucked up their jobs and joined me. So what do we do? That's when you have to look for opportunities all the time. Even, there's always an opportunity. So I started going after a new technology called virtualization. Anyway, let's not discuss that. But that was a game changer. In other words, what happens was, since you are in IT, let me tell you, and some of your audience will be looking at IT. You see, they were building Intel computers, right? These computers are becoming more and more powerful, extremely powerful. Actually, the computer on the phone is more powerful than the computer that sent man to the moon. Oof. Yeah. So, what was happening was that with the Intel architecture, you could run only one application in one server. So, the servers are becoming powerful, but you're still running one application. So, when we do a test, you could see that a server is running only at 10% of its capacity. So, this company called VMware came up with this technology called virtualization. You are creating virtual machines. They're actually software. They are software computers inside this one computer. So, you are running multiple applications. So, with virtualization, with one server, we were able to run sometimes 30, 40 applications. So, that's the technology I went after. I came back to Sri Lanka, learned about it and started propagating that. There was not a word in our business plan about it. So, we started that business, $3 million business gone. And this business, small margins, So, what do? You lower your expectations, but you have to be able to convince your board, storytelling. And we started this we completely changed the IT landscape of Sri Lanka with virtualization, completely, you see. So, the point I want to make, Shannon, is that you have to look for opportunities. And there are opportunities. That's what even in this current hopeless situation that we have fallen into, this country is bankrupt. Still, companies can look for opportunities. And that's where true leadership and, that's what we were able to do. So the thing is, if the leader, like my mother, if she collapsed and fell, then we would have not survived. But because of faith, she was holding the fort. So everybody came around her. Likewise at Enable, I said, we are okay.
Yeah.
So first year, Hemas gave a salary increase of 5%. We said, we won't take it. You see, you have to make sacrifices. He said, no, we want you to support us for the long term. So you make some sacrifices. You look for opportunities, go after them, lower your expectations. Now, you're not going to make that $3 million business. Lower the expectation, but very important, hard work. I saw in 1 month 30 customers. There are only 20 working days. Because at Millennium, we wouldn't take a sale unless it was $50,000 GP, gross profit. Here, we were getting purchase orders that were $2,000. Not GP. GP was bloody $500. So you see, you have to be able to roll your sleeves and hit the road. You can't live in your past. I was a big shot CEO at Millennium. That won't do. You're here now. Situation is bad. You lead by example. So 30 customers. I'm not sitting in office and typing on my damn emails and all that. On the road, roll your sleeves, hit the road. So that's how so to inspire your team, in short, to face challenges. For me are like a part of business, no? What do people always talk about challenges? You met challenges. Of course, you start a business, it's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
So challenges are the norm.
And definitely there are challenges. And
That's
just
the
a small part.
That's the norm. It's your mindset that makes you think they are challenges. So for me, it's like, I don't even look at them as challenges. I think there was a situation and we dealt with it. Life is a challenge, no? So these challenges are not a big deal. It's every day you have to be ready to face a challenge. There'll be a challenge with a people-person challenge. There'll be financial. You may not have the cash flow. So business means life is challenge, man. Yeah. So
you look more at them as opportunities.
Absolutely. At least spot opportunities in a challenging environment. Can you spot an opportunity? That's what makes you an entrepreneur or a leader, to be able to see opportunities when others don't. So, yeah.
All right, that's incredible, Peter. So, you also made a mark in the entertainment industry with projects like Gira, ILLUMINATE, and Kadula, and especially Kumio. So, what drew you to this field actually?
No, I from the small age I was acting because we have no television and all that, imagination. So I used to be always acting. When I was very young also, I used to act as a priest and same ass, and so I don't know. And then because nobody kind of interfered with me, I was left alone with my imagination. You know, when my father died, my father was conservative, Catholic. He would have, I'm not saying I'm happy that he died, but if he was there, I probably will not be here talking to you. My life would have taken a different turn. He would have got me to, he would have conditioned my mind. He would have said, this is what the Bible teaches you, and this is what you follow.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. So as a result, I was exploring. And then I think as a result of this imagination, creativity, you have to entertain yourself, no? Because you don't have anything else. So you have to entertain yourself, you have to, so even when I was in school, grade 1, 2, I was always getting boys together to act a play. So I was always that. And it so happened then later on that I, got involved in some teledramas and a film, that ILLUMINATE, and then of course Kumbio became very popular. So it was just accidental, and then I just went along. But one thing that that industry has kind of not shaped me, but again storytelling, because even in acting you're telling a story of a character, so you are communicating with the audience. So I think all that helps me to tell a story. If I'm starting a company, like I told you, I have to tell a story to the investors, I have to tell a story to the employees who join you, then I have to tell a story to the customers. So I think I bring that skill that I have from my work in the creative arts. So, yeah.
And before we move on to the next session, I'd like to make a small request. So could you please deliver a small dialogue as Baldenia from Kumbio?
I don't remember. Talking about that part now, when this Lakmal director came to meet me, he showed me the script, and I thought, wow, this is very different to the normal teledrama, as you know. And then I said, I'm so busy, because about 3 years after I started the company, about 3 or 4 years, I said, I'm sorry, man, I'm too busy. He said, okay, no problem. And then he went away. And then he came back a few months later and he showed me some of the scenes they had shot. You remember there was a scene in that warehouse there where this Vihan character, why that big warehouse?
Yeah.
And there they have this very unusual, no? In a normal where he's setting up this shop and all his games and all his planning there. No? So they showed that with that Vamansika Paksha Nayaka. He was a Thomian, like you. That gentleman who played that part.
That role.
Yeah, he died. Yeah, he passed away. Very nice man. So he played that character. So he showed me to entice me. But I couldn't do it because I was busy. Then 3 years later, I saw this Kumbio is now going on television.
It's becoming very popular.
Very popular, YouTube. Then I started watching. When I started, about 12 episodes had gone. So I kind of binge watched it. Then he called me. And he said, he wants to meet me. I said, sure, I'll come and meet you. Then when I went to meet him, I asked him, I said, Lakmal, balasanta kalatino me vede kauda mage charite kare. Who played my character? He turned to his assistant, smiled and said, ekana katha karanda yaani. You know, he didn't shoot my character for 3 years because he wanted me. Because he wanted my personality, whatever, as Maldenia. Because he's a political character, he didn't want the usual politician, he wanted maybe someone who played differently. So at that point, I couldn't say no to him. So my Maldenia character also I formed by getting various composite people. So a little bit of Ranil, J.R. Javardhana. Then you saw that television series Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
a little bit from that. But also from that other thing with Kevin Spacey. Where he becomes the president of the United States, manipulator. So I took from that as well. I forget the name of that. House of Cards. House of Cards. There's a famous thing called House of Cards. So, I made a composite character to play Maldenia. I can't off the cuff. I'm sorry, man. I can't remember the line from it. I should. Put me on a spot, on the spot there.
Yeah.
So, I know you wanted the line, but just before if I remember, I'll say something. But this Maldania character is very significant at that whole play, because right now people are getting ready for elections. Now you see how people are combining sworn enemies. In parliament, they were saying, Hora, Banku Hora, this Hora, that Hora, but they're all buddies now. They are all in the same party, in the same coalition, you know. So that's what even in fact, this line, I came up with this line. It was not in the script. I tell Vihan, I tell him, make a numbers game. That was not in the script. I said, make a numbers game. You have to see with whom can I form a majority. Otherwise, how
You have to get the votes, the numbers.
Yeah, and also in parliament. Once if you don't have the right people for a 2/3 majority, you do horse trading. You know, it's nothing to do with policy. It's not, I stand on this policy, their policy is different, nothing. And pressure, money, or like Maldania did, blackmail. Blackmail. Now they have intelligence. No? I see, you know that people use those who are their personal, what sites they see, all that, they have intelligence. They use that to blackmail you. So that's the nature. That's why that Fumio was very good, because he talks about the true politics and the nexus, the connection between the underworld and all these gangs, you know, underworld criminals and politics. How they use this to be in power. So in that sense, in fact, I tell the Twamans Ganaka, now this time you see, all the people who are all sworn enemies, we make an alliance, you know. So yeah, that's my contribution towards this Malgania question.
All right, Peter. So actually, entrepreneurship comes with its own set of challenges. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in building up your businesses?
Well, you see, like I said, Sharon, the first thing about being an entrepreneur, big word, is that, like I said, you have to look at the market. People buy only two things in the world. They buy solutions to problems and good feelings. Now, if I want to tell the time, I have a phone. Today there's a watch, but you are wearing a watch. You also have a phone.
Yeah.
But that's not because you want to tell. Now, it's a lovely watch you are wearing. Now, that's a good feeling, no? It's a good feeling. So, you buy a brand. Now, you got a nice crocodile. Correct?
Yeah.
A t-shirt. Now, that's a brand. Now, if you want to comfort, you can wear any shirt you like.
Yeah.
I also now, I am wearing some. So, that's a good feeling. That's not a solution to the problem. So, people buy only solutions to problems and good feelings. So, as an entrepreneur, you have to see what is the market gap, or what am I going to sell? Am I going to sell a solution to a problem, or am I going to, there's an existing solution, I'm going to create a much better experience out of it and create a good feeling.
Good feeling.
Now, for example, if you take Uber, food and all that, they don't make food. Uber doesn't make food. PickMe doesn't make food.
Doesn't provide cars, taxis.
They don't have cars and all that, but they realize that people need that experience of looking at a menu of options anywhere, pick one from here, one from here, one from here, and put it together, and it gets delivered to your doorstep. That's an experience. It's a good feeling. It's also a solution to the problem. So entrepreneurs must first and foremost figure out what is the opportunity in the market that I'm going after. There's no point doing what everyone else is doing. Now that happens in Sri Lanka. One fellow forms a kade. Now in that there was a famous street in Talawatugoda. One fellow with a lorry was making ondakavu. Poor fellow man with an eye, and I used to buy fresh, hot. Now there are 5 fellows doing it there. No differentiation. So first thing, entrepreneur, what is it, the market gap that I'm feeling? Is it a solution that does not exist, or even if it exists, can I create a much better experience out of it? Once you know that, the second thing, how am I going to differentiate between what's in the market and what I'm offering? If you don't differentiate, you can't keep a big margin, because he can buy Kondekang from you, 50 rupees. That fellow sells it for 60, he won't buy it from him. So you'll all probably sell it at the same price.
Yeah.
But if I do something uniquely different, create a massive differentiation, then I can charge a premium. So to answer your question, entrepreneurship firstly is about spotting an opportunity in the marketplace. Very clear, this is what I'm going after. And when I go after this, I'm going to make it substantially different to my competition. That will make you a true entrepreneur. So when we started Enable, we wanted it. There's so many IT companies. So what did we do? We wanted to tell the world, because you see, people were selling IT to the IT manager. We want to say, no, IT enables business. That's why our name comes. Enable. It comes from the word enable. N*able. We made it enable. Because we wanted to tell the business owners, the CEOs, don't leave this decision to IT. This can change your business. So we took the underlying IT infrastructure, didn't talk about it, and we told them, this is how it's going to address your business problems, which shifted the conversation. That's why made us. Now that virtualization story, I didn't go and tell it to the IT department. I told it to the CEOs.
And it wasn't in the plan as well.
It was not in the plan. And I could draw a picture. Within 6 minutes, I can tell the story. I'll ask him, can you give me a piece of paper, the CEO, and I'll draw pictures for him. I said, now imagine what this can do to your business. This is how it will lower your energy cost, because they're running 100, 200, 300 computers. In some cases, in one company, there were 100 computers. We brought it down to 3. So these 100 to 3. Now these 100 computers are drawing power, no? Even if they're using only 10% of its capacity, it's drawing 70% of its rated power. So your electric energy bills and managing it and all that is a nightmare. So you see, we were able to go and tell them, this is how, not the details of this is how this virtualization works. No, CEO says, Peter, I get it. I'm going to call a meeting of the IT and other departments. Now you come and present to them. We shifted the game. That's why we did so well. So entrepreneurial challenge is spotting opportunities. And how can I provide that opportunity with a significant differentiation between everything that's out there? Otherwise, you're not an entrepreneur. You copy something, that's not entrepreneurship.
That's true.
That is, you're a businessman. You're not doing anything new and unique.
All right, Peter. So,
and also, only before I go away from it, you see, lots of young people, you all are watching this program. You see, people think you can just start a company, man. But you can. You must have that drive, that ambition. But you see, like I said earlier, it's hard work. If you're not ready to put in the hard work, forget it. If you are running a company and your mind is occupied, you're constantly on the damn phone, you're running a business, but every 5 minutes you're looking at Instagram, TikTok posts, you're not going to be successful. You should be able to focus on the job. And like I told you, after I'd worked at Millennium, I say we were $2 million profit. I had to start right at the bottom. I put in the hard work, So without hard work, you can't forget about it. If you're being an entrepreneur, just give it up now. It's not just going to be all rosy. And sacrifice, hold back. Don't spend money on yourself. Invest the money in the business, So that's very important.
all right. So, and another thing. So, educational freedom is a topic that many are passionate about nowadays. So, talking about educational freedom. So, what are your thoughts on letting students to follow a career on their what their parents want, versus allowing them to follow their own paths?
That's a good point, Shannon, because you see, today most of our schools, and I go to, they are living someone else's life, children, because these parents and teachers, they're all telling them, do this, do this, do this. If they do creative arts, they'll say, Ayyo, you can't get a job, man, if you do arts. So I speak to a lot of students, A-level students. I went to a big girls' school, very prominent school, just after their A-levels. And I spoke to them. Now they're waiting for results to come. Most of them would get 3 A's. And I spoke to them, and 2 of them were seated in front. They said, they called me sir. Sir, I chose biology because my mother is a biology teacher. The other girl said, I chose chemistry because my mother is a chemistry teacher. not interested at all
Yeah.
in chemistry and biology.
It's just what their parents want.
Parents at all. Then another girl guide, I was talking to the girl guides, young people, a very smart young girl. She said, you know, sir, I consider the 3 A's I got in my A-levels as a curse. Got a shock. As a curse, yeah. Because of my 3 A-levels, now their parents are forcing me to be a doctor. And all I want to do is to be a poet, write poetry. So I told her, okay, it's tough, but you know, if you still pursue your poetry, you'll be a great doctor. Because a doctor who can write poetry will be a good doctor. He'll be more caring about their patients, unlike some of the doctors now, not all.
Yeah.
Some of them, they have no time for you. You go for a consultation, they look at you in 3 minutes, they're writing the prescription. Because they are not listening to you, they are not spending time with you. So I told her, but I'm coming back to your question. You see, so, you know, firstly, the education system, we covered that already. But talking about your specific question, you know, about pursue, I think as young people, you should stop leading someone else's life. My point to you is, you have no responsibility whatsoever to live up to other people's expectations of you. At least now, people like you take charge of your life. Say that, you know what, thank you, mommy, daddy, auntie, uncle, I have to take ownership of my life. Not to be arrogant, not that you won't listen to them, but I want to take charge of my life. So don't let, you know, your past determine your future. Make a break now and then go looking for what are the opportunities I have. So don't let your, you know, school career, like I said earlier, decide what your future is going to be.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yes.
Is that what you were after?
It does, yes. So, so it's actually about like forcing students like
yeah, exactly.
pursue a career their parents want.
Yeah.
And allowing them to, choose their own paths.
Yeah. I mean, don't be rude to your parents. Don't say, no, not that. But explain to them, say that, you know what, I'm 20, I'm 21, I'm 22, I'm 23. How old are you?
9.
19, even better. Say, you know what, I need to pursue a path. I want you to support me. And if I fail, don't say, there you are, we told you, no. Don't do that. I mean, I need your backing. Give me a chance. Let me do this. All I need is for you to stand behind me and tell me, you know, son, my daughter, whatever, you can do this. Just stand behind me and let me try it. And if I fail, support me. So don't be arrogant, but at the same time, don't be too afraid to make that call and say, you know what, I'm going to pursue. But pursue that with all the energy you have. Put everything to it, particularly about finding out, because there's so much information now. You can find out about anything. Like I said, how do I conduct interviews, Shannon, with the top engineers of this country? How? I'm not a subject matter expert, but I know enough to have a conversation with them so that they feel, I say, I'd like to work for this guy. And most of them say, Peter, we want to work for you or work with you. So,
or learn from you.
Yes. I'm trying to be a little modest here, but at least, you know, they feel that, because in that conversation, in the interview, I make them feel that, hey, so how did I do that? And I never stopped learning. Even now, you can't say I'm the CEO and stop learning. You have to, you know, put in the hard work, because the world is changing so rapidly, you know. Yeah.
All right, Peter. So, what are your thoughts on paper qualifications versus, experiences, the practical experience in the job market?
Well, it's useful to get a qualification. I'm not trying to undermine people getting a degree, a master's, a PhD. Those are great things, but that alone will not get you to be the best person you can be, because you have other skills, and that's what, like we said, what are people looking for? Now, for example, just to answer your question very specifically, we had a practice in Enable called predictive analytics. For example, we went to a company and gave them the names of 47 people who would leave the company in the next 6 months. 43 of them left. Predictive analytics. here are the 47 people by name. They will leave in the next 6 months. We had number of data to work with, and 43 left. So for that data analytics practice, we wanted students who were good at statistics. So there was a university which we were working with, and in that university, 3 of their batch top, I think all 3 were first class, or maybe 1 or 2 of them were first class, batch top. They came for the interview. We couldn't hire even one of them. Why? They can't apply what they have learned to solve a problem. We give them a problem to solve in the interview.
Yeah.
Not my interview, mine is the last interview, but in the early interviews, in the early recruitment process, selection process, you will be given a problem. Now this is all, what they have learned is enough to solve the problem. It's not a trick question. We are not trying to trap them. We know what they did for stats, so they have to use it creatively.
But it's not a hard one as well.
No,
it's a
not
simple
like,
question.
not a huge bloody teaser, but you have to be, but you're able to apply problem-solving skills you have to have. None of the 3 had it. So paper qualification, they had the best, don't know how to apply. So today, paper qualification, it will get you a job, but you need to look at other skills like what we spoke about. At least problem-solving skills you must have. And sadly, our schools don't teach it, but you've got to find out, at least in your universities, in wherever you all are, try to work in teams, to collaborate and work to solve problems. So without that, great question.
So Peter, before we wrap up, what message would you like to give to the audience?
Well, I'm not sure whether I want to give a message as such, but let me share a few important thoughts. See, you all are unfortunately in a situation in this country where the country situation is really hopeless. Some of the best people have left the country. The government has no money to invest in emerging technologies. So the opportunities you might have might be very limited. Even the global, in the world, there's a huge crisis. So just by leaving Sri Lanka and going abroad also will not cut it. So what are the things that you can do as young students in your early 20s? So the first thing I would say is stay curious. There's one thing that you have to do, just do only that. Just be curious about something. Just go look for information, learn. Keep learning, and today with all the tools that are available with ChatGPT and all of that, there's nothing that you cannot learn. So that's point number 1, stay curious. Secondly, keep your options open. Don't decide today what your career is going to be, what your future is going to be. Keep your options open. There are so many opportunities. What you are learning is just a foundation, and you can switch completely. You can forget about what you are doing today and learn something new, because the opportunities might emerge. Because this university experience is not about learning something for your future jobs. No. But if you certainly want to pursue a career with your learn, that's great. Thirdly, and most importantly, take charge of your life. Don't depend on others. Even some of you, as much as your question was about, your parents are pressurizing you, you also are far too dependent on your parents for everything. For your food, your clothing. No, try to be a little independent, And most importantly, like I said earlier, you have no responsibility to live what others expect of you, to live up to others' expectations of you. Your only responsibility is to live up to your own expectation. Don't get me wrong, that does not mean you have to be arrogant. Be humble, but say, you know what, there's a life ahead of me, and I'm going to choose a life, and that's not going to be one path. When you go down that road, you might think that may not have been the right road. Take a turn. Don't be afraid, because you will make it. So I wish you all the best, and go live your life.
That's it for the question. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences, Peter. And it has been a privilege to learn from you. Thank you to our audience for tuning in. Stay tuned for more interviews and exciting content as part of our ILLUMINATE 24 YouTube series. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more updates. See you next time.